Master Your Emotions, written and published by Audiobooks. Have you ever noticed how the most successful and fulfilled people seem to navigate life's challenges with remarkable emotional balance and social grace? Master Your Emotions and Social Intelligence for a Happier Life unveils the transformative skills that separate those who merely survive from those who genuinely thrive in our complex social world. While most people remain at the mercy of their emotional reactions and misread crucial social cues, this groundbreaking guide reveals how to develop true emotional mastery and interpersonal wisdom. You'll discover why understanding the hidden language of emotions, both yours and others, creates opportunities in every area of life that most people miss entirely. By integrating cutting-edge research in psychology with time-tested wisdom, this book provides a clear pathway to developing the emotional intelligence that automatically attracts better relationships, reduces stress, improves decision-making, and creates the foundation for lasting happiness. The difference between living an ordinary life and an extraordinary one often comes down to these exact skills that few people ever consciously develop. Lesson 1. Internal authority supersedes external control. Have you ever noticed how some people maintain their calm and composure even in the most challenging situations, while others seem to be constantly thrown off balance by the smallest disturbances? The key difference lies not in their circumstances, but in their relationship with internal authority, the profound understanding that no external force can dictate their emotional state without their unconscious permission. This truth runs counter to how most of us experience life. We often feel at the mercy of events, people, and circumstances beyond our control. When our boss criticizes our work, we automatically feel dejected. When someone cuts us off in traffic, anger rises instantly. When we receive good news, joy bubbles up naturally. These reactions seem so automatic that we rarely question whether we have a choice in how we respond. Yet beneath these seemingly automatic reactions lies a hidden mechanism, our unconscious permission. Every emotional response, every shift in our internal state requires our minds to process, interpret, and respond to external stimuli. This processing happens so quickly that we mistake it for direct cause and effect, but there's always a microscopic gap between stimulus and response, a gap where our true power resides. Consider a person who remains unshaken by criticism. It's not that they don't hear the harsh words or feel the initial sting. Rather, they've developed such strong internal authority that they can choose how deeply external opinions affect them. They've learned to consciously evaluate feedback without automatically absorbing its emotional charge. This isn't about building walls or becoming emotionally numb. It's about developing the discernment to decide what enters your emotional space and what remains outside. This internal authority grows stronger with practice. It begins with simple awareness, noticing the subtle moment when you grant permission for external events to affect your emotional state. Perhaps you're in a peaceful mood until you check social media and see a friend's success story that triggers feelings of inadequacy. In that moment, you've unconsciously given social media the power to determine how you feel about yourself. Recognizing these permission points is the first step toward reclaiming your emotional sovereignty. As you develop this awareness, you'll start to see patterns in how and when you relinquish your emotional authority. Some people might consistently trigger specific responses in you. Certain situations might reliably knock you off center, or particular types of comments might predictably deflate your confidence. These patterns aren't random. They're the result of accumulated unconscious permissions you've granted over time. The next time you feel your emotional state shifting in response to external events, pause and ask yourself, am I consciously choosing this response, or am I running on automatic permissions? This simple question begins to restore your internal authority, reminding you that you always have a choice in how you process and respond to the world around you. Your emotional state is your domain. It's time to consciously choose who and what you allow to influence it. Lesson 2. Perception creates reality. Your mind is the architect of your experience, constantly filtering and interpreting the endless stream of information bombarding your senses. Every moment, you perceive only a tiny fraction of available sensory data, and your brain constructs a complete reality from these fragments based on your beliefs, expectations, and past experiences. This creative process happens so automatically that we rarely question our interpretations. We assume we're seeing things as they are, when in fact we're seeing them as we've learned to see them. A simple experiment demonstrates this truth. Notice how your current mood colors everything around you. On a joyful day, the world sparkles with possibility. When anxious or depressed, that same world appears threatening or meaningless. The external circumstances haven't changed. Your perception has shifted. Understanding this perception, Reality Loop gives you tremendous power. Rather than being a passive recipient of reality, you become its active creator through deliberate shifts in perspective. Consider two people facing job loss. One sees catastrophe while another sees opportunity for reinvention. Same circumstance, radically different realities based on perception alone. The good news is that perception is trainable. Through consistent practice, you can develop the ability to consciously choose how you interpret events rather than defaulting to habitual patterns. This isn't about denial or forced positivity, but rather expanding your perceptual flexibility. When you encounter a challenging situation, pause and ask, what other ways could I look at this? What opportunities might be hidden here? Our brains are naturally wired to spot threats and problems. It's an evolutionary survival mechanism. But this negative bias can be balanced through intentional focus on possibility and potential. Start small. Each day, deliberately notice 3 things that bring you joy or inspiration. This simple practice begins rewiring your perceptual filters to catch more of the good while maintaining healthy awareness of legitimate concerns. The most powerful perception shift comes from truly understanding that everyone experiences a unique reality based on their perceptual filters. That difficult person in your life isn't trying to make things hard. They're responding to their own perception of reality, just as you are. This insight naturally increases compassion and reduces conflict, as you recognize that most disagreements stem from different ways of seeing rather than inherent opposition. Take a moment right now to consider what aspects of your current reality might transform if you chose to perceive them differently. Your answer reveals the first step toward consciously creating the reality you desire, rather than accepting the one your habitual perceptions have constructed. Lesson 3. Energy flows where resistance ends. Life presents us with an endless stream of circumstances we might wish were different. We resist our aging bodies, difficult colleagues, traffic jams, and countless other situations that don't align with our preferences. This resistance creates an exhausting internal friction that depletes our vital energy while changing nothing about the reality we face. What if there was a more powerful way? The physics of emotional energy follows a fascinating principle. What we resist persists and often grows stronger. When we fight against our present reality, we inadvertently feed it with our attention and energy. Think of a person in quicksand. The more they struggle and fight against their circumstance, the faster they sink. Yet when they relax and work with the properties of their situation, they can gradually find their way to solid ground. This same dynamic plays out in our emotional lives. When we resist feeling anxious, the anxiety intensifies. When we fight against feeling sad, the sadness deepens its grip. When we reject parts of ourselves or our experience, we create an internal war that can never be won through force. The path to genuine power and peace begins with a counterintuitive move. We must first fully accept what is. This doesn't mean passive resignation or giving up on positive change. Rather, acceptance creates a stable foundation from which effective action can emerge. When we stop exhausting ourselves fighting against reality, we suddenly have abundant energy available for creating something new, like a martial artist who redirects an opponent's force rather than meeting it head-on. we can learn to channel the energy of any situation in more productive directions. The practice of non-resistance requires us to first become aware of where we're unconsciously fighting reality. Notice the subtle tension in your body when you're stuck in traffic. Observe the mental friction when someone isn't behaving as you think they should. Feel the resistance arise when life presents you with unwanted circumstances. Simply bringing awareness to these patterns begins to dissolve them. From this place of awareness, we can consciously choose to release our grip on how we think things should be and accept them exactly as they are in this moment. This creates space for our natural wisdom and creativity to emerge. Solutions appear that weren't visible through the fog of resistance. We access flow states where action becomes effortless and effective. The next time you notice yourself fighting against reality, try this experiment. For just a moment, completely accept the situation exactly as it is. Drop all mental arguments about how it should be different. Feel the immediate relief of ending the internal war. Notice how much energy becomes available when you stop resisting. Then, from this empowered state, choose your next move with clarity and purpose. Let life show you how much more is possible when you release resistance and redirect that precious energy toward creating what you truly desire. Lesson 4. Silence reveals strength. In a world that celebrates constant noise and endless self-promotion, true power often reveals itself through silence. The most influential people understand that strength doesn't need announcement. It simply is. Like a mountain that stands unmoved by the winds that blow around it, genuine power maintains its presence without the need to prove itself to anyone. Consider how nature demonstrates this principle. The deepest parts of the ocean remain silent while holding immense power. The most massive stars in the universe move through space without making a sound. These forces shape reality not through proclamation, but through their mere existence. In the same way, your greatest influence emerges not from what you say, but from who you are and how deeply you listen. Deep listening transforms relationships and reveals insights that constant talking obscures. When you truly listen, you begin to hear the unspoken fears, dreams, and needs beneath others' words. This awareness gives you the ability to connect and influence at a profound level that superficial conversation never reaches. By cultivating the art of silence, you develop an almost magnetic presence that draws others to you naturally. The quieter you become, the more you can observe and understand the dynamics at play in any situation. Like a skilled martial artist who remains still until the perfect moment to act, your silence allows you to gather information, conserve energy, and choose your responses with precision. This economy of expression makes your words carry far more weight when you do speak. Actions born from deep silence create ripples that require no explanation or defense. When you operate from this place of quiet certainty, you no longer feel compelled to justify your choices or convince others of your worth. Your results speak for themselves, and your presence becomes a catalyst for positive change without the need for constant verbal affirmation. Think of silence as a container that holds and amplifies your power rather than an empty void. Just as a bow must be pulled back in stillness before releasing an arrow with force, strategic silence creates the tension and space from which your most impactful actions can spring. The next time you feel the urge to fill space with words, experiment instead with allowing silence to work its magic. Your practice begins with a simple question. What might become possible if you reduced your words by half and doubled your listening? Let this inquiry guide you toward discovering the tremendous power that awaits in the space between words. The strength you seek lies in those moments of chosen silence, ready to transform your presence in ways that mere words never could. The world has enough noise. It hungers for the quiet confidence that comes from those who have discovered that true power whispers. Your silence, properly cultivated, becomes a force that shapes circumstances more profoundly than any amount of talking ever could. In the quiet, your authentic power awaits. Lesson 5. Meaning transcends circumstances. Every moment of your life carries the meaning you assign to it. When you truly grasp this profound truth, you unlock an extraordinary power, the ability to transform any circumstance into fuel for growth and achievement. Your mind constantly creates meaning from events, whether you're conscious of this process or not. The question isn't whether you're assigning meaning, but whether you're doing it deliberately or by default. Consider two people facing an identical setback, perhaps losing their job. One person might interpret this as devastating proof of their inadequacy, spiraling into depression and inaction. The other might view it as the universe creating space for an overdue career change, immediately beginning to explore new opportunities. Same circumstance, radically different meanings, completely different outcomes. This isn't positive thinking. It's strategic meaning, making that shapes your reality. The human brain is wired to create stories that explain our experiences. This making mechanism evolved to help us survive by making sense of our world. But like any tool, its power lies in how we use it. When you understand that you are the author of your life's meaning, you can consciously craft interpretations that serve rather than sabotage your growth. Your setbacks become setups. Your obstacles become opportunities. Your wounds become wisdom. This power to assign meaning extends beyond personal circumstances to your entire worldview. Those who master this skill can maintain their center even in chaos, finding purpose in pain and possibility in problems. They understand that meaning isn't inherent in events. It's created through interpretation. This doesn't mean denying reality or suppressing negative emotions. Instead, it means developing the capacity to hold multiple perspectives and choosing the most empowering lens through which to view your experiences. The most resilient people throughout history have demonstrated this ability to transcend their circumstances through meaning, making. Viktor Frankl, surviving the concentration camps, discovered that those who maintained a sense of purpose and meaning were most likely to survive. Nelson Mandela transformed his prison experience into a university of leadership. Their external circumstances didn't change. Their interpretation of those circumstances did. Think of your mind as a making machine that's running 24/7. Right now, it's creating meaning from everything you read, everything you experience, everything you remember. The question is, are you programming this machine intentionally? When you face your next challenge, pause and ask yourself, what if this is happening for me rather than to me? What meaning could I assign to this that would empower rather than diminish me? Your power to create meaning is always available, waiting to transform any circumstance into a catalyst for your growth. This isn't about forcing artificial positivity. It's about consciously choosing interpretations that expand rather than contract your possibilities. Every moment offers a choice in meaning. Choose wisely, for your choices create your reality. Lesson 6. Response outweighs stimulus. Between every event that happens to you and your reaction to it lies a precious space, a microscopic yet infinite moment of choice. This space, though often overlooked, contains the essence of your personal power and the key to emotional mastery. Most people live their lives in a stimulus response loop, automatically reacting to triggers with practice patterns laid down through years of unconscious conditioning. But those who master their emotions understand that this space between stimulus and response is sacred ground. Think of the last time someone cut you off in traffic or made a cutting remark that stung. In that split second before you responded, there existed a universe of possible reactions. Yet most of us default to anger, fear, or hurt without realizing we had other options. This automatic piloting of our emotional responses robs us of our greatest power, the ability to choose our inner state regardless of external circumstances. The good news is that this response gap can be widened through conscious practice. Just as an athlete trains their muscles to respond with greater precision and control, you can train your emotional response system to create more space between trigger and reaction. This training begins with simply noticing the gap exists. Pay attention to the microscopic pause before you react to small daily triggers. A criticism, a setback, an unexpected change of plans. Simply observing this space starts to expand it. As the gap widens, you gain access to an increasingly rich menu of possible responses. Where once you might have had only fight or flight available, you now find yourself able to respond with curiosity, compassion, humor, or strategic disengagement. This expanded range of responses gives you tremendous adaptability and resilience in the face of life's challenges. You become like a martial artist who can redirect an opponent's energy rather than meeting force with force. The real magic happens when you realize that your response to any stimulus carries far more power than the stimulus itself. A thoughtless comment that might once have ruined your entire day now becomes an opportunity to practice emotional mastery. A rejection that might have crushed your confidence becomes a chance to demonstrate unshakable self-worth. The trigger loses its power to control you, and your chosen response becomes the dominant force shaping your experience. What would change in your life if you doubled the space between stimulus and response? How would your relationships transform if you responded from choice rather than conditioning? Every trigger becomes an invitation to practice this art of conscious response. Each challenging moment offers a chance to expand that sacred space where your true power resides. Your response always matters more than what happens to you. This understanding alone can revolutionize how you move through the world. The next time you feel triggered, imagine time slowing down in that precious space between stimulus and response. Feel yourself expanding into that gap, knowing that your power lies not in controlling the trigger, but in choosing your response with profound awareness and intention. This is where emotional mastery begins. Lesson 7. Clarity precedes creation. The mind's ability to manifest reality begins with absolute clarity of vision. Like a master archer who must first see the target with perfect precision before releasing the arrow, your ability to create desired outcomes depends entirely on the crystalline clarity of your intentions. Mental fog, confusion, and scattered focus act as invisible barriers between you and your deepest aspirations. Think of clarity as the architect's blueprint. Without it, even the most skilled builders cannot construct the intended structure. Your mind operates under the same principle. When your intentions remain murky or conflicted, your actions naturally become disjointed and your results random. But when you achieve laser, like clarity about what you truly want, the mind automatically begins arranging circumstances, opportunities, and resources to bring that vision into reality. This creative power of clarity extends beyond mere goal setting. It shapes your moment-to-moment experience of life itself. A clear mind perceives situations accurately, makes decisions confidently, and maintains emotional equilibrium regardless of external chaos. Like pure water that perfectly reflects the sky above, a clear mind mirrors truth without distortion. This allows you to respond to life from wisdom rather than reaction. The path to mental clarity begins with elimination. Just as a sculptor reveals the statue by carefully removing excess stone, you must systematically identify and release the mental clutter blocking your vision. This includes limiting beliefs, unnecessary worries, toxic relationships, and activities that drain rather than energize you. Each element you remove brings your core intentions into sharper focus. The practice of clarity requires dedicated time for stillness and reflection. In our hyper-connected world, the mind rarely experiences true quiet, yet it is precisely in these moments of inner silence that clarity emerges naturally. Through consistent meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in nature, you create space for your deepest knowing to surface. The answers you seek often appear spontaneously when the mental waters calm. Visualization serves as a powerful tool for strengthening clarity. By regularly immersing yourself in detailed mental pictures of your desired reality, you literally rewire your brain to recognize and create those circumstances. The more vivid and consistent your visualization practice, the more your nervous system aligns with that future probability. This is not mere fantasy. It is conscious reality creation through focused intention. What would become possible in your life if you achieved perfect clarity about your highest priorities? Take a moment now to identify one area where mental fog or confusion is holding you back. Commit to spending 10 minutes each morning in complete silence, allowing your authentic desires and next steps to emerge naturally. Watch how this simple practice begins shifting your entire reality toward greater alignment with your truest intentions. The mind that maintains unwavering clarity inevitably becomes a powerful channel for creation. Like a magnifying glass focusing sunlight into fire, your clear intention concentrates universal energy into manifestation. Trust that as you cultivate ever greater clarity, reality must reshape itself to match your vision. Your only task is to keep polishing the lens of perception until all distortion dissolves. Lesson 8. Mastery requires surrender. The greatest paradox on the path to emotional mastery lies in a simple truth that often eludes us. True power emerges only when we release our desperate grip on control. Like a tightly clenched fist that cannot receive new gifts, our rigid attachment to specific outcomes creates the very resistance that blocks our progress. This chapter explores the counterintuitive relationship between surrender and mastery. Consider how a skilled surfer rides powerful ocean waves. They don't fight against the massive force of water. They align with it, flow with it, and use its energy to propel themselves forward. The surfer who tenses up and resists the wave's motion inevitably crashes. Similarly, emotional mastery requires us to develop a profound trust in life's natural rhythms and our ability to dance with them rather than dominate them. This surrender isn't passive resignation or giving up. Instead, it represents a mature understanding that some things lie beyond our direct control, and our energy is better spent focusing on our response rather than forcing external circumstances to bend to our will. When we surrender our attachment to how things should be, we open ourselves to seeing opportunities and solutions that our controlling mind would have missed. The practice of surrender begins with honest self-observation. Notice how much mental and emotional energy you expend trying to control things that are ultimately uncontrollable. Other people's opinions, future outcomes, past events, or life's natural uncertainties. This exhausting pattern of resistance creates tension, anxiety, and blocked energy that could be channeled toward more productive ends. Paradoxically, as we learn to surrender our iron grip on control, we often find ourselves becoming more influential and impactful. Like the martial artist who uses an opponent's force rather than fighting against it, we learn to work with life's energy rather than oppose it. This requires developing deep trust in ourselves, in the process of growth, and in life's inherent wisdom. The path to emotional mastery through surrender involves regular practice in releasing control in small ways. Start with simple situations where you typically control, like traffic delays or long lines. Instead of resisting, practice acceptance and look for hidden opportunities in these moments. As your surrender muscle strengthens, apply it to increasingly significant areas of life. Take a moment now to identify one area where your need for control might actually be holding you back. What might become possible if you loosened your grip just a little? The most profound breakthroughs often arrive not through force, but through the gentle power of letting go. Your greatest power may be waiting on the other side of surrender. Remember this paradox. The master gains control by releasing it, finds strength through vulnerability, and achieves goals by surrendering attachment to them. In this beautiful contradiction lies the secret to true emotional mastery. Lesson 9. Fear serves the master. Fear, that primal force that has guided human survival for millennia, is often misunderstood as something to eliminate or overcome. Yet within its raw energy lies an incredible potential for transformation and growth. When we shift our relationship with fear from adversary to ally, we unlock a wellspring of power that can propel us toward our greatest achievements. Consider how fear manifests in your body. The quickened heartbeat, the surge of adrenaline, the heightened awareness. These same physiological responses that prepare us for danger also create the optimal state for peak performance. Athletes, performers, and leaders throughout history have learned to harness this energy rather than resist it. They understand that fear is simply power-seeking expression. The key lies in developing a new relationship with fear. Instead of viewing it as a warning to stop, recognize it as a signal that you're pushing beyond your comfort zone into the realm of growth. When fear arises, pause to acknowledge its presence without judgment. Ask yourself, what is this fear trying to tell me about what matters most? Often, the intensity of fear correlates directly with the importance of the action you're contemplating. This reframing transforms fear from a prison guard, keeping you safely confined, to a faithful servant providing the fuel for extraordinary action. Every time you feel afraid, you're being handed a gift of energy, pure potential waiting to be directed. The trembling before a speech becomes the passion that moves an audience. The anxiety before a crucial conversation becomes the focus that enables deep connection. The doubt before a major decision becomes the careful consideration that leads to wisdom. Learning to channel fear requires practice and patience. Start with small fears, those everyday moments of hesitation or discomfort. Notice how resisting fear creates tension while accepting it releases energy. Experiment with riding the wave of fear's energy while maintaining clear direction. Like learning to surf, you'll fall many times before finding your balance, but each attempt builds mastery. The most powerful among us aren't those who feel no fear, but those who have learned to dance with it. They understand that fear is not their enemy, but their ally in disguise. When you embrace fear as a source of power, rather than a source of limitation, you begin to seek out challenges that spark that familiar surge of energy. You learn to trust that the presence of fear often points the way toward your next level of growth. What fear have you been treating as an enemy that might actually be offering you a gift of power? How might your life transform if you began to welcome fear as a faithful servant rather than fighting it as an unwanted intruder? The energy you've been using to resist fear is waiting to be redirected toward creating the extraordinary life you're capable of living. Lesson 10. Responsibility enables power. The most profound shift in human consciousness occurs when we fully embrace radical responsibility for everything in our experience. This truth often feels counterintuitive and even unfair at first. How can we be responsible for circumstances that seem completely outside our control? Yet this very resistance points to the transformative power of total responsibility. When we blame external factors for our situation, we unconsciously give away our power to change it. Each time we point to other people, past events, or current conditions as the source of our problems, we declare ourselves powerless to create different outcomes. This victim narrative, though temporarily comforting, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that keeps us stuck in cycles of helplessness and resignation. The path to unleashing our unlimited potential begins with a simple but revolutionary choice: to view ourselves as the author of our experience rather than its passive recipient. This doesn't mean denying reality or pretending bad things don't happen. Instead, it means choosing to focus on our response rather than the stimulus. Even in the most challenging circumstances, we always retain the power to choose our interpretation, attitude, and actions. This mindset shift transforms our relationship with adversity. Rather than asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we begin asking, "What can I learn from this? And how can I use this to grow stronger?" Every obstacle becomes an opportunity for expansion. Every setback contains the seeds of an even greater comeback. We stop seeing ourselves as victims of circumstance and start viewing ourselves as creators of circumstance. The most empowering aspect of radical responsibility is that it puts us back in the driver's seat of our lives. When we stop outsourcing control of our happiness and success to external factors, we reclaim our inherent power to shape our destiny. This doesn't mean everything will immediately go our way, but it does mean we'll stop feeling helpless about the direction of our lives. We'll know that while we can't always control what happens to us, we always control what happens in us and through us. This level of responsibility requires tremendous courage. It means giving up the comfort of excuses and the safety of blame. It means looking honestly at how our choices, beliefs, and actions have contributed to our current reality. It means being willing to be wrong, to change, and to do the uncomfortable work of growth. But the reward for this courage is nothing less than total liberation, the freedom to create any reality we can envision, limited only by our willingness to take complete responsibility for manifesting it. Take a moment to consider. What areas of your life do you still blame on external circumstances? What might become possible if you chose to take 100% responsibility for creating the outcomes you desire in those areas? Your power expands precisely to the degree that you embrace responsibility for all of it, the good, the bad, and everything in between. This is the gateway to your unlimited potential. Final lesson. Master your emotions. As we conclude our journey through the energetic principles of money, you stand at the threshold of a profound transformation. The knowledge you now possess isn't merely financial advice. It's a complete paradigm shift that reframes your relationship with abundance at the most fundamental level. While the majority continue struggling with money, unaware of its energetic nature, you've been initiated into an understanding that changes everything. The truth about money that you've discovered is both simple and revolutionary. Money is energy, and it responds to your energetic signature more powerfully than to your actions alone. This explains why two people can implement identical financial strategies with dramatically different results. It's not just what you do that determines your wealth, but who you are being as you do it. The frequency you maintain, the beliefs you hold, and the emotions you cultivate around money. As you begin applying these principles in your daily life, you'll notice subtle shifts occurring. Financial decisions that once felt stressful become clearer. Opportunities that once seemed hidden begin appearing with remarkable synchronicity. Your sense of your own value, both internally and in the marketplace, naturally expands. Remember that transforming your money energy isn't an event, but a process. Years of programming from family, culture, and personal experience have created your current financial reality. Each time you catch yourself in old patterns of lack thinking or fear-based decisions about money, you have an opportunity to consciously realign with abundance consciousness. Perhaps the most liberating aspect of understanding money as energy is recognizing that your past does not determine your future. Your financial history simply reflects the energy you've maintained until now. The moment you shift your energy, you begin creating a new financial trajectory. Your responsibility now extends beyond your own prosperity. As you experience the results of properly aligned money energy, you'll naturally want to share these principles with others. The most powerful teaching comes through example. As others witness your transformed relationship with abundance, they'll become curious about your approach. The path ahead contains unlimited potential for expansion. There is no ceiling to the prosperity you can experience when you maintain alignment with the true nature of money energy. Each level of abundance you achieve will present new opportunities to refine your energy, release subtler limitations, and expand into greater expression of prosperity consciousness. As you close these pages and continue your journey with money energy, carry with you the absolute certainty that you are worthy of abundance, that prosperity is your natural state, and that the universe responds precisely to the energy you maintain. Your transformation begins now with the next thought you think, the next feeling you cultivate, and the next action you take regarding money. Retried create closing for master your emotions. As our exploration of emotional mastery and social intelligence comes to a close, you stand at the threshold of a transformative new chapter in your life. The principles and practices you've discovered aren't merely interesting theories. They're proven pathways to a more fulfilled, connected, and purposeful existence. While many will continue to be hijacked by their emotional reactions and misread crucial social cues, you now possess the tools to navigate life's complexities with remarkable clarity and grace. Perhaps the most powerful insight you've gained is that emotions aren't obstacles to overcome, but valuable messengers providing critical information about your inner landscape and the world around you. By developing the ability to recognize, understand, and skillfully work with your emotional experiences, you've unlocked a level of self-awareness that few ever achieve. This awareness becomes your foundation for everything that follows: deeper relationships, wiser decisions, and authentic self-expression. As you implement these practices in daily life, you'll notice subtle yet profound shifts. Conversations that once triggered defensiveness now become opportunities for connection. Situations that previously caused anxiety now reveal their hidden gifts. The invisible social dynamics that confused or frustrated you now appear with remarkable clarity. These changes may begin small, but their cumulative effect will transform every aspect of your existence. Remember that emotional mastery is not about suppression or control, but about fluency and integration. Like learning any language, developing emotional intelligence requires consistent practice and a willingness to make mistakes. Each emotional challenge becomes an opportunity to refine your skills, each social interaction a chance to deepen your understanding of human nature. The journey continues throughout life, offering endless opportunities for growth and discovery. The ripple effects of your emotional development will extend far beyond your personal experience. As you embody these principles, you naturally become a stabilizing force in your relationships, workplace, and community. Others will be drawn to your presence, often without knowing exactly why. Your capacity to listen deeply, respond thoughtfully, and navigate conflicts constructively makes you an invaluable presence in an increasingly disconnected world. Moving forward, trust that the wisdom you've gained will continue to unfold in unexpected ways. The most profound shifts often occur beneath the surface, revealing themselves gradually through improved relationships, reduced stress, and a growing sense of alignment between your inner experience and outer expression. Be patient with yourself during this process, celebrating small victories and viewing setbacks as valuable feedback rather than failures. The greatest testament to your emotional and social growth will be the quality of your life itself, the depth of your connections, the clarity of your purpose, the resilience you show in the face of challenges, and the authentic joy you experience in everyday moments. This is the true measure of success on this path. Your journey toward emotional mastery and social intelligence doesn't end with the closing of this book. It's only beginning. Each day brings new opportunities to apply these principles, deepen your understanding, and expand your capacity for meaningful connection with yourself and others. Embrace this ongoing adventure with curiosity and commitment, knowing that each step forward creates ripples of positive change that extend far beyond what you can see. The most meaningful life is available to those who master not just external circumstances, but their internal landscape. This mastery now lies within your reach.